since my accident.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I had to ask about that tonight, actually, and I'm so glad you just said it right then and there. But James said you got in a snowboarding accident?
Yeah, it sucked. Yeah. Like February 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, I like went off a little ice patch and flew into a tree and broke my pelvis and my hip and like 9 rib fractures and internal bleeding, and I get like heli lifted out, which was so embarrassing. I was like, really? I'm the guy getting heli lifted out right now? But yeah, it sucked. But yeah, Jim's came and fucking picked me up from the hospital, got me out of there with my other brother. That was so sick. I hated it there. So for like 2 weeks.
You were in the hospital for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That long?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
It sucked.
They wouldn't let him leave. Sucked. Like he would text us like every day. He's like, dude, I gotta get out of here. But like they couldn't clear him to leave until he could like prove that he could do like basic things without them.
But they like gave me,
because like his femur literally went through his pelvis and hip.
No.
And then broke all of this. So like they literally like reattached all of this.
Oh.
And then like they were like, just don't move for as long as possible, so that the bones just regrow.
Heal back together.
I'm hitting this a bunch.
But, dude, you're good, bro.
But then once they were like, your bones are healed, he like started walking immediately. It was crazy.
My physical therapist was sick. She like just the whole entire time that I was like not able. My doctor like put all this shit back together so well. He like got all of the individual little bone shards. I hit the tree so fast that it like was like a super clean break. Like it fucking broke me in 3 places on my pelvis and my hip, but like it was such a hard impact that it just cracked. So they were able to grab all the pieces and put it back together, and then take these like metal straps and strap all the bones together so that it all healed together correctly. And then
I waited. Like chains, dude.
It looks like fucking bike chains. But then like the second that my bones were healed, the whole time my physical therapist was like working on flexibility and stuff in a pool with me. So like I was like no weight on the leg at all, just movement. So my muscles were like ready. And then the second that the bone was safe to put weight on, I started walking, and literally like the first day, me and my girlfriend walked like 2.5 miles.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, and so like,
is that going to stay there?
That's his femur, and then that's his like hip and pelvis.
It's crazy. Jeez, it broke. My pelvis broke like here, and then here. It broke in 3 places. And then it hit all of this, and like my femur hit me in the spine right there. So I had like partial paralysis for like a month. Like my whole junk and everything was just like, couldn't feel shit for a month. Dude, such a bummer.
Were you worried about not being able to walk or feel that shit again?
For a minute, yeah. But like the doctor came up to me like when I was in the hospital before my surgery, and he's just like, dude, like, okay, there's complications. Like your femur is resting on your sciatic nerve right now, so I have to pull it off, and like there's a possibility that I clip something, and there's paralysis. And I'm like, okay, that's super scary. And he's like, but if I don't do this, you're never going to be able to walk anyway. So, because it was compound fracture in here. So I was like, okay, let's go. So when that happened, I was like, fuck, like it happened. You know, I'm a little
for it.
Yeah, but I was like, you know, I couldn't feel shit. And I was like, okay, like it happened, but I'm not like dead, and I can like move my shit. Because like it was all bleeding in here too. But yeah, there were some concerns, but I had a fucking good team, and like my girlfriend like came out like literally the day of my surgery, and my sister, and it was sick. So like everyone was like totally there, and it made it kind of easier. The hospital fucking sucked, dude. There's horror stories there for sure. They like gave me I was on oxycodone and I was like super nauseous from it, and I was like, can we try like a different painkiller, because I'm there for like enough days. I'm like, this isn't making me feel good. I can't eat, and then I can't eat, I don't have the energy to do physical therapy. So then
dude, that was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, let's change it to a fucking different drug, like let's try a different narcotic, because they said I had to get off of morphine to go home. So I'm like just trying different pills that you can take home. You can't take morphine at home. And they fucking every day give me a high dose muscle relaxer, because all my muscles are all torn up here. And then fucking they changed me to something called Dilaudid, which I don't know if you know, that's like what killed Elvis. That was like horrible drug, horrible narcotic. And they're supposed to start you on 0.5 milligrams of it, and they started me on 4 milligrams of it, and they gave it to me within the same hour of giving me a high dose muscle relaxer. So I was tripping balls. He
texted me. He was just like, dude,
they're gonna kill me.
No, it was just like this. He's like, dude, they fucked up my like the milligrams on my new like prescription or whatever. And he was like, dude, like this is crazy. Like
I was seeing, like I was literally
was just like texting what was happening in the room, and I was like, holy shit.
I was fucking like transported into like the upside down, like the sunken place, and then fucking all of a sudden I fall, and it was so vivid. Like I'm a creative dude, so like my visuals were fucked. Like it was literally, I was like in this desert, and like there was like marching camels with like fucking Vietnam vests on, and I look up in the sky and there's fucking koi fish swimming around, like giant fish. And then I'm running all of a sudden, and I shit you not, like Tom Cruise is with me. I'm like running with Tom Cruise, and like I'm whispering this to my girlfriend, and she was like taking a video, and I'm like, Tom Cruise is here, and like I'm like tripping balls, dude. And that lasted for an entire day, and then the negative side effects of that lasted for 3 days. So that like kept me in the hospital, because I was like so weak from the withdrawals from that, because they just gave me so much. So that was
freaking crazy.
That was the worst part of the whole experience, like worse than the crash.
They fucked you up so high on this drug that you literally had withdrawals for 3 days, and you were just like,
and they're like, you have to stay here.
Now, they told me
you have to stay here, but literally you could have been getting better if you weren't tripping balls.
Yeah, the day before that, the physical therapist is like, oh, you're young, like you're strong, you have energy, like you could get out of here on Monday. That was on Friday, and then on Friday, so like I was in the ICU for 3 days. Then on Friday, they transferred me out of the ICU and put me into like the general hospital. And fucking that's when the nurse gave me that drug on a Friday night. Tripped all day Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, still fucked up. And then fucking took them another week before I could get out. It sucked.
Yeah. And then they said they were going to release him the next day. And me and my older brother were like, hey, like we're going to go get Lucas tomorrow. Like we had just gotten off of work. It was like 6 o'clock on like a Wednesday, and I didn't have work on Thursday, and he could get it off. And we were like, fuck it, let's just go right now. And we like fucking just got in the car and like chugged some coffee and drove to his house in San Francisco, and then slept for like an hour, and then went SF to Reno, picked him up, and then they fucked up his prescription, so we were in Reno for like 3 hours.
Yeah, they like sent me to a fucking Walgreens to get all of my drugs to leave the hospital. And that was like across town. We get there and they're like, oh, it's not gonna be ready for 5 hours. We're like, what? Like, we need to go. Like, so
he told his doctors that like we were like coming to get him and going back, and they're like, yeah, like, and he had to be cleared for the ride home. They're like, they wouldn't clear him. They're like, you can't be in a car for 9 hours, because they knew where we were going. He almost got an airplane ride.
Yeah, we tried to line up our uncle offered to fly me, but there was like nowhere I could lay flat.
And then your friend.
And then my friend from my rugby team also is a pilot, and he like gave me a quote to like fly me, and I was like, but we looked at it, and then Thomas and James just came and like.
So the doctors were like, you can't, like they cleared him for like the ride home. They were like, okay, like you're gonna get picked up, and then the prescriptions need to be ready because they were only available in Nevada.
Yeah, well, because you can't write a prescription in Nevada that's eligible for California, and I can't be off. At that point, I couldn't be off my painkillers.
In a car.
For 12 hours, because we had to go to SF, pick up a bunch of my shit, and then drive to SLO. So it took so long, and I just popped a bunch of my painkillers and just chilled. We just chilled and fucking.
It was so crazy too. Like every time something would happen, I'd be like, "That didn't hurt," and he's like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, "Dude, like, don't move." It was crazy. We went and picked him up, and like, I was expecting us to have to like do everything because I thought he was just completely immobile. But then he like gets wheeled out by this nurse to the car, and then just like hops up like onto one leg, and then like hops into the car, and he's like, "Let's go! Like, let's get the hell out of here!
Fuck out of here!"
It was sick.
Dude, I just had the weekend nurse sucked, but that dude I had during the week was so sick. He like was in the military and shit, so he was like super motivating, and he's just like no bullshit with me. And we got up, like he'd like make me get up to go to the bathroom and stuff. He's like, "Nah, you're doing this, you gotta get up," because I had to get up to be able to get cleared. So he's like straight up, they're gonna try to keep you here for a month because you can't get up and you can't use the bathroom by yourself. The only way is if for 1 whole week, you fucking get up on your own, you walk at night, you do this shit. That's the only way you're gonna get out of here. So like the second that the withdrawals were over from that on like Tuesday through Thursday, this dude had me getting up twice a day, going to the bathroom on my own. Like we had like a schedule of like when he'd give me anti-nausea so I could eat, and then painkillers so I could do PT. And then I was just like dialed, and like he fucking saved my life, got me out of there. That dude, like Casey,
dude, honestly,
the man, the fucking man.
Like it.
Yeah, the weekend nurse, fuck her. Her name was JL.
Don't call her
JL. You suck, dude. No, dude. She gave me way too much drugs. That's fucked.
Didn't you say she was new?
She was a 1-year-old nurse.
Yeah, she'd probably never given any. I mean,
dude,
probably
1 year.
Though. If you're.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
She fucked me though. I was just like, I've done drugs in my life. Like I had like pretty solid comfort knowing like my level, knowing the doses, and that was just something I've never experienced. Like a level of no control, like a lack of control. And like a lack of reality.
Shit is happening.
No, like a full-on lack of reality. Because usually you can go like, "Oh, this isn't real. This isn't real. This is fine." But like straight up, there were points where it was Inception, dude. I was literally like,
just like in like a space chair. That's
like I'm here in the hospital and Sandrine's holding me, and then I open my eyes and she's actually across the bed, and then I open my eyes again and she's holding me. And then I open my eyes again and I'm holding her, and I'm like, what? Which one of that was real?
That's what I meant.
Like it was literally
into like
I was like morphing.
Situations.
Exactly. It was fucked. That was like the craziest I've ever felt. Yeah. Anyway, fuck the hospital.
Anyways.
Dude, and that's why I said that earlier inside. I was like, you guys have fucking connections. If you guys are like getting quotes from the airplane drivers that you know in person and shit.
That's a dude we played rugby with, or I played rugby with.